climate change. I request all the audience to kindly please be seated as we shall begin with the panel discussion 1. The event has sponsors, the platinum sponsors, Pulse CCTV, DG Suraksha, silver sponsors, CISS Techno Purple, event partner Cropsy, media partner Security Link India, Security Today, and knowledge partner MIGS. Now we shall begin with the panel discussion 1, which is about emerging threats, AI, machine learning, and deepfakes in industrial security. I would request and invite the moderator of the session, Dr. Alok Vijayant, founder, Cyro IT Technologies.
Thank you, Jai.
Dr. Vijayant is a pioneer in cyber operations, AI, and blockchain innovation. He created India's National Cyber Registry and built critical human capital in national cyber security. A veteran technocrat, he connects the hacking community with policy efforts to strengthen India's cyber defenses. We have two panelists in this session. I would invite Mr. Avanish Pathak, founder Smart Edge AI. I request sir to please join the dais. He is the founder of Smart Edge AI. Avanish is a deep tech inventor and strategist with over 21 years of experience. His work spans edge computing, AI for good, sustainability, and geoeconomics. A multidisciplinary thinker, he combines science, technology, and ancient wisdom to develop solutions for a secure and sustainable future. We have another, I request you to join the dais. Thank you. We have another speaker, Roshan Babarwal, Head Customer Success Techno Purple. As Head of Customer Success at Techno Purple, Mr. Roshan leads large-scale digital automation deployments across industrial sites. An engineer and MBA, he has implemented guard patrol systems at over 1,200 plus locations. Known for his customer-centric mindset, he champions workforce digitization and AI adoption, driving operational excellence and resilience in industrial security. Over to the moderator.
So before we start this panel, on behalf of team ICISSM, I would like to invite a very special guest to join the panel, and that is none other than Mr. Santosh Pathak, who is the Editor-in-Chief of Security Link India. So please join the panel at the dais. A round of applause for all our panelists, please. Over to you, sirs.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be the moderator for this session. The topic is very, very emerging. It's as we speak today, yet the AI has not advanced to a level what we should at all be discussing about it. But yes, of course, a lot of thought processes will come out of this, these kinds of sessions, what we have been conducting at a lot of places. The idea is that what stage of AI we are in. Are we really prepared to go for the AI route, or we are still in the stage of machine learning? So there is a very thin line between, because today you go for any meetings, you go anywhere, in any seminars, conferences, or even for big meetings, they are talking about all of them in one go. They will talk about machine learning and AI. And my background is that I am a management graduate. I have got nothing to do with technology, but I am a hands-on technologist. So I have learned everything on keyboard. I have learned everything on computers. And 26 years of my career with the government and national security establishments, I have seen the growth and evolution of cyber in the country, right from 2005 onwards, when everyone was struggling to actually onboard cyber with their own operations and processes. I have seen these kind of systems actually growing from, bottom up. So still, in fact, in government, we confuse or often, are not in a position to actually make a line between automation, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So many a times we call automation as artificial intelligence. If your camera is actually viewing something and giving you the contours and finding and trying to identify a backend database based vectors, we have started calling it artificial intelligence. Okay, to some extent, yes, because the difference between automation and artificial intelligence, to my mind, I'm giving a very practical viewpoint, is automation will normally fail you in terms of mechanical stuffs. Artificial intelligence will always fail you. Many times it will fail you on logics. Because none of the architects of artificial intelligence will ever say that, okay, I'm 100% sure what I'm telling you. Like I was seeing the previous, the DG Suraksha, they will also, if you go into the finer lines when they talk to you, they will always talk to you, okay, 95% accuracy, or my level of confidence in giving you this assessment is 96%, 94%, and so on. So even the computer vision, what they talk about today when they were talking about biometrics, not biometrics exactly, AI-based and image identification or video identification, they will all talk about, कहीं पे एक छोटा सा subtle line में लिखा होगा 95% level of accuracy or 98% level of accuracy. Because AI actually completely works on patterns. If you have the right pattern, if you are able to list out the feature sets out of those patterns, and if you are sure that today whatever is the feature set defined is not going to change, then probably your level of accuracy will go up. What I mean by that is, on this day of the year, today is, what is the date? 10th? 16th of May 2025. Will it rain at 5 o'clock? Today in the evening, will it rain at 5 o'clock? Will depend upon certain factors. What is the humidity level? What is the temperature? What has been the past records, historical records, whether it has rained ever on 16th May, on any one of the years. What has been the changes that has happened? What was the level of pollution in the air? What was the AQI kya tha? There could be hundreds of parameters which can define why the rainfall should happen or should not happen. So depending on the historical data that you have for the last 100 years on this particular day, then you can actually bring out some pattern. Okay, when the AQI was this much, when the humidity was this much, when the temperature was this one, out of those 100 instances, 40 times it rained and 60 times it did not rain. So you will say that, okay, 40% chances of a rain on this when the parameters and the feature sets are these. So that is what AI is. So AI is always, it works on past historical data. Now when it comes to, industrial security, see, industries have been into practice for very long. It's not that industries have not been there. There have been different methods of actually protecting your industrial assets and infrastructure. We have done that earlier. The only thing is a lot of people will have to actually sit behind the box and try to identify the features that you actually, with your experience, what have you observed as the feature set in protecting our industrial infrastructure. That is what has to be listed out. Then probably the technologists may sit behind these parameters and, feature set, we call it basically, the columns, feature set, and then after that design algorithm to make it more accurate and accurate. So it has to be a developing algorithm one has to write. Now today the problem with this entire thing is we get into AI without understanding the industrial processes. We don't know. The people who are actually behind the computer, who are trying to design the algorithm, they have least idea about what are the industrial processes. So we always, in the cyber environment, we say that it's all about PPT. PPT is people, process, and technology. People who understand the process do not understand technology. People who understand the technology do not understand the process. And And the great part in our kinds of constitution is that people who don't understand either of them, the process or the technology, are the one who take the decision finally. So that's what I say. It's no more PPT. It is PPTX, the X factor that takes the decision. So our management has to be equipped with both the kinds of knowledge. You know, gone are those days when people used to say that technocrats cannot be management, chiefs or CEOs. I think those things have to change now because, see, having seen both the sides, I have got two brain. One is a management brain, and another one is a hardcore techie brain because I also code. There is always a conflict. What can be done and what should be done. So that is the kind of conflict we currently, when it comes to AI, and I can tell you whether it's a legal conference, whether it is an industrial security conference, whether it is a physical conference, any kind of conference you go. In fact, I'll tell you, last month, I was in Manekshaw Auditorium, actually speaking on a topic of clearing the landmines post war zones. From the war zones, you have to clear your landmine because no Fauji actually, when he lays the landmine, he doesn't come and clear it. So it also forms part of the industrial security in one way. So this was the conference, and everywhere, trust me, in every conference today, whether it is even a literature conference, I'm talking about a Hindi conference or, Rajbhasha conference, it's a fashion now to include artificial intelligence and machine learning as a part of the topic, where, these kind of things, AI, machine learning, these kind of things are required to be deployed in our daily rule sets. But trust me, the man behind the machine is the ultimate decision maker. You cannot rule out the existence of thing. So over this next, I think, 25 or 30 minutes, I will tell you what are the topics that we are going to discuss here. Since the topic is AI and emerging technologies in industrial security, protecting our future, so we will be discussing on some of the major points would be what are the AI-powered threat detection models? How do we actually detect threats where the threat itself has been created by AI agent or AI algorithms? So threat. AI algorithm, why I'm including it as a part of the topic is because AI can actually generate different scenarios which a human mind cannot comprehend together as of now. So when such kind of a scenario is built up by an AI-powered threat vector, then how are we going to handle it? So that's going to be the first one. The second one is going to be the industrial Internet of Things. Whenever we talk about industrial security, the first thing that comes in our mind is placing a camera, having a surveillance a monitor at the end, and then looking at everything today by physical eyes, tomorrow by object detection, computer vision related models. So how risky they are? Do we make those products? That is what we are going to discuss now. Third one is the artificial intelligence in predictive maintenance. So there are a lot of SCADA controls, which have some AI and machine learning built into it. There are places, somebody was talking about strategic assets. There are places where you cannot have a human subjected inside, yet you need to do predictive maintenance. Can AI help in that? So that's the third one we're going to talk about. The fourth one is cybersecurity governance and various compliances that now we are supposed to meet, even as an industrial establishment. So that's what the latest guidelines coming from certain that any kind of breach you have to report immediately. That is what we are going to discuss as the fourth subject. And fifth is, of course, ethical considerations. Why I have included this ethical consideration as a part of this is because, earlier in any organization, to identify who is a bright employee or who is a dumb employee, it was very simple. You could actually identify him by his acts or whatever idea he was giving. Today, those distinctions have become very barred. It has become very blurred. Why? Because a genuine person has to compete against AI-generated ideas and AI-generated stuffs. So this is where I think the management has to be equipped that what is the best a human mind can think, what has been presented to him on his table, and what is that the genuine person is capable of actually delivering. So this distinction is very blurred today. Uh, before I actually invite each of the panel speakers here, I'll just give you a thing. My wife is a dean in an engineering college here in Delhi Technological University. One day she told me that there was a student who wrote an application for something, some waivers or something she was asking for. He wrote an application, and my wife was actually stumped, looking at the kind of English that was used, looking at the, the flair of writing and so on and so forth. So she was so impressed with that boy that she called him. And when he came inside the cabin, she found that he could not even, spell out anything. I mean, it was very difficult for him to even prove that he exists there. And that was the kind of thing. So she just smiled and said, "Chat GPT?" "Yes, ma'am." So this is where, what I'm trying to say, you'll all get it. The distinction between a human mind and a bot directed on an agent-based mind, one will have to make distinction, because ultimately you will have to give credence to the human mind, not to the AI mind, because AI is already trained and tutored. So you can't possibly. So I'll invite the first. In fact, we have got very wide panel. There are people from journalism. He's from the journalist media side. Then we have some techies who have been writing codes themselves. So we will normally invite them from, so that they speak from their perspective exactly what they learn. So there'll be some component of technology where they are going to talk about that, what are the nuances in AI, why do you think we are going the right way. So that is what I think, I'm sorry, I have not caught up the names, but sorry? Avnish Patek. So Mr. Avnish will be actually talking about that, are we the right way when it comes to AI? Do we need an AI governance? Do we need an AI regulation or something like this? Then our panelist on the other side, he will talk about how is media actually picking up. Maybe he also talks about, when it comes to AI, he may talk about the deep fakes, and the crimes that are taking place on the internet portal, internet places, using the artificial intelligence, even the voice modulator, and those kind of things. So that I think you can cover, and you will cover the generic aspects of AI. So I will first invite Mr. Avinash to actually give technical bulldozers to you right now, so that we'll make the atmosphere a little lighter, because tech is going to be real ones. So please, Mr. Avinash.
जय हिंद एवरीवन। पहले कैडी को भेजते हैं शायद, फिर पीछे कुछ लोग होते हैं आर्मी में। आई एम अ सिविलियन बट बाय हार्ट आई एम अ फौजी। आई एम अ रिसर्चर, अ डीप टेक रिसर्चर एंड इन्वेंटर। मुझे रिसर्च में ज़्यादा मज़ा आता है कमर्शियल से ज़्यादा। सो बट आई रन 2 startups. They are successful. They are making enough money that me and my team can survive. But I'm an evangelist from heart. So मेरा काम है सिर्फ टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में लोगों को अवेयर करना, और मैं अगले 15-20 साल के प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व कर रहा हूँ। मैं ही नहीं, मेरे पास एक फ़ौज है, जैसे आप लोगों के पास फ़ौज है। तो वो एक फ़ौज है जो एक नेशनलिस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू के साथ बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करती है। और मुझे गर्व है कि मैंने आर्मी के लिए, NSG के लिए, और भी बहुत सारे एजेंसीज़ के लिए बहुत सारे सोल्यूशंस बना के उनको डिस्प्ले करके दिया। वॉक द टॉक करना पड़ता है, क्योंकि आज के डेट में गिमिक्स बहुत है, पीपल आर जस्ट ओवर सेलिंग नथिंग। सो AI इज़ रियल, इट्स हियर एंड वी आर एट वॉर। और हमें लगता है कि हम पाकिस्तान के साथ वॉर लड़ रहे हैं, बट एक्चुअली नहीं। हम पिछले 10 दिनों में हमने 6-7 कंट्रीज़ के साथ वॉर लड़ा है। साइबर अटैक इससे ज़्यादा ख़तरनाक कभी हमारे पे नहीं हुआ था। हम उसको वी आर वॉचिंग इट। हमारे पास बहुत सारे डेटा है दैट 150 पेनिट्रेशंस हो गए थे। दे वर सक्सेसफुल इन 150 अटेम्प्ट्स, जबकि लाखों में वो आए थे। बांग्लादेश से आया, टर्की से आया, इंडोनेशिया से आया, बांग्लादेश से आया। वहाँ फ़ौज बैठी हुई है। और एक बहुत बड़ी चीज़ को मैं आज हाईलाइट करना चाहूँगा, सॉरी आई एम मिक्सिंग बोथ द लैंग्वेजेस टुडे, दैट there is certain kind of alertness that I want to generate here in this audience, because some of you have the capability and ability to reach out to the top policymakers, and I'm going to alert on some of those factors today. I will touch upon in 5-7 minutes a lot of stuff which is क्योंकि अब वो ज़्यादा टेक्निकल बात करके कुछ होएगा नहीं, जो चल रहा है वो बता देता हूँ और उसके कुछ मिटिगेशन स्ट्रैटेजीज बता देता हूँ। सबसे पहली बात तो साइबर वॉर इज़ रियल, इट्स हैपनिंग while we are sitting here. We all are carrying IoT devices with us, which includes mobile phone. ये भी vulnerable है आपके लिए. So which means you all are in threat right now. Deep fakes. आज के डेट में मोदी जी को ले लीजिए, otherwise or Donald Trump or anybody. The deep fakes are all over. You know, you'll find Ambani's video, you'll find our finance minister's video. People are selling. हम उस डिजिटल वर्ल्ड से आते हैं. वी आर नॉट फ्रॉम दिस फिजिकल वर्ल्ड गाइज. देयर इज़ अ वर्ल्ड दैट डजंट एग्जिस्ट एंड स्टिल एग्जिस्ट. देयर आर क्रिमिनल्स देयर आर डेकॉयज, देयर आर हार्डकोर माफियाज, उसको हम लोग बोलते हैं डार्क वेब. और वहाँ पे ट्रेडर्स भी हैं, वहाँ पे क्रिमिनल्स हैं, वहाँ पे हर तरह के गंदे लोग हैं. हम उनके साथ डील करते हैं और हम उनको समझते हैं. और ये समझना वहाँ कोई आइडेंटिफिकेशन नहीं है. दे आर ऑल साइकोलॉजिकल वॉरफेयर दैट इज गोइंग ऑन एंड वी हैव टू, हमें उनको साइकोलॉजिकली समझना पड़ता है कि इसकी आइडेंटिटी ये है. सो डीप फेक्स में आप लोगों ने देखा कि वो सुबह वी हैड दिस वीडियो ऑफ प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ पाकिस्तान. पाकिस्तान वाज एबल टू क्रिएट अ ग्रेट नैरेटिव दैट दे वॉन द वॉर, बट एक्चुअल क्या है वो तो हमें पता है. वाई? बिकॉज दे हैव अ गवर्नमेंट विच सपोर्ट्स देयर सिटीजन कि भाई तुम ये काम करो. हमारा गवर्नमेंट स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड नहीं है. We as a even techies, we are scared to even do these kind of activity online because we will leave certain audit trails and our agencies might treat us as a criminal. तो वो हमारे पास वो इंडिपेंडेंस नहीं है. सो वी डू नॉट डू. हमारे यहाँ पे रेस्पॉन्ड कौन करता है? वो अंकल जी बैठे हुए फेसबुक में देख रहे हैं और वो उनको रेस्पॉन्ड कर रहे हैं, जबकि वहाँ की पूरी फौज लगी पड़ी हुई है. सो दैट्स वन अलर्टनेस दैट आई वांट टू क्रिएट. Citizens are vulnerable. Our older citizen, everybody is getting digitally erased. ये why is this happening? They are using AI bots, collecting your information. सब कुछ सेल पे पड़ा हुआ है डार्क वेब पे. आपको क्या चाहिए? आधार कार्ड से डिटेल लेके, क्रेडिट कार्ड से लेके, पर्सनल इन्फॉर्मेशन, योर हिस्ट्री, जोग्राफी, एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल फॉर सेल. एंड दीज आर देन बॉट इन क्रिप्टो करेंसीज बाई द पीपल who want it. एंड दे ये डिजिटल अरेस्ट वाला जो कैंपेन चल रहा है, this is all because of that. Our children, आपके बच्चे, वो बहुत vulnerable है. There is a lot of crime that is happening to them. Why am I telling all you this is because we have 3-4 categories of people sitting in this audience. एक है Gen X, एक है Gen Y और एक है Gen Z. जो अभी के जो teenagers और जो नए निकले उनको Gen Z कहलाते हैं वो अपने आप को. वो कहते हैं हम Gen Z हैं. But this is the end of the era now. जैसे कलयुग के बाद सतयुग आएगा, वॉट एवर हैपन्स, राइट? सो दिस इज द एंड. द एपिटोम हैज़ कम. नाउ जेन AI इज टेकिंग ओवर. अब वो जनरेशन AI आ चुका है. देर आर योर किड्स, देर आर 12 years kid who are actually accidentally doing crime. वो हैक कर रहे हैं, उनको पता नहीं कि वो हैक कर रहे हैं एक्चुअली, बट दे आर मेकिंग अ कमर्शियल मिस्टेक. दे आर मेकिंग अ कमर्शियल क्राइम. दे आर मेकिंग अ सिविल क्राइम. एंड वी डोंट हैव पॉलिसी. कल के डेट में कोई भी पकड़ के उन बच्चों को कैन क्रिएट अ क्रिमिनल केस अगेंस्ट देम. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द एस्पेक्ट्स दैट पॉलिसी मेकर्स एंड अदर्स नीड टू नो कि बॉस हाउ कैन वी इंटीग्रेट दिस Gen Z, Gen AI together with our experienced veterans of X and Y, sorry. Let's come to the context today. We were talking about industrial IoT, AI for predictive maintenance, cyber, government, best practice. AI has all the solution. जो अगर असली AI practitioners हैं, there are a lot of good people around. I think, the need of the hour is to engage with them, give them the problems, give them a certain small timeline, small budgets, and get the problem get solved. Because too much of talking, too much of overselling, too much of badnaam bhi ho raha hai AI. नहीं है. It's very good. It's very good. It's going to help only. It doesn't solve yesterday's problem. It solves your future problems. While we are fighting, we are only talking about past problems, retrospective problems. AI practitioners do not talk about it. They are only looking at future. They know the threats. ऑलरेडी जो यहाँ पे डिस्कशन हो रहा है वो सब उनको पता है, उसके ऊपर काम भी कर चुके हैं. बट वो राइट ऑडियंस को, राइट लोगों को पकड़ के कमर्शियल और नॉन कमर्शियल को डिस्टिंग्विश करके, आई थिंक इट्स टाइम टू इंगेज दोज काइंड ऑफ एन ऑडियंस. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आई वुड लाइक टू जस्ट से दैट देयर इज वन थिंग दैट इज कम्प्लीटली मिसिंग. because the narrative for our generation comes from the leaders. पहले बोला गया no first use, right, for our nuclear weapons, which means वो गांधी वाला formula कि भैया पहले थप्पड़ मार दे कोई तो दूसरा भी दे दो. That's what it means. Then now the doctrine has come कि भाई सटे साटेम समाचरित और भयभीन होत न प्रीत. आज लग गया हमारे को 75 साल बाद ये समझ में आया कि अच्छा अब ये हमारा डॉक्ट्रिन है. आज के बाद हमारा जनरेशन अब इसको फॉलो करेगा कि ठीक है भैया भयभीन होत न प्रीत, तो भय क्रिएट करेंगे. और वो आपके पास जेन जी और जेन एक्स पड़ा हुआ है जो बहुत टैलेंटेड है, और उसको हम लोग मेन स्ट्रीम ये जो ग्लोबल वॉर चल रहा है नो एट ऑल द टाइम, इनको यूटिलाइज करने का समय है. सो आप लोग कृपया उनको भी इंगेज करें एट अ राइट लेवल, बिकॉज ये एनर्जी अगर ऐसे ही पड़ा रहा तो वो गलत हाथों में भी जा सकता है. आई लाइक टू कंक्लूड विद दैट. थैंक यू.
I think I'll be loud enough. So he talked about one very important point is narratives, the narrative building, because in the current, the crisis which we are going through or at the national level, some tasks came my way, and of course for the information warfare related stuff. And I found that our youngsters are, the people who are the foot soldiers, they are not even aware that what our stand is going to be. So when you talk about the information war that took place, and we thought that we won this war, but unfortunately, if we have to do an introspection, I would say that we failed miserably in information war this time. The reason is that our foot soldiers were not very clear on what is the stand they are going to take. They were not even aware about the international relations. They didn't know anything about what are the Balochis, what is the stand do we take for Balochis, do we identify BLA, or for that matter, even they were not very sure about what is our stand on Taliban. So if one has to make a narrative, you have to be very well read. You have to understand what is the national line that you want to toe, and then probably create a narrative which is more credible and which is more acceptable by the line. So this is what was missing, and we had to form a team of almost like 20 thinkers who were themselves not very confused, that whether this is the right time to actually toe Balochistan line, or we are shooting is too fast. So those are the kind of narratives that we're talking about. And when it comes to AI based narrative, yes, of course AI will be an extremely powerful tool when you have to actually create, I'll use the word fake narratives, because information battlefield there is nothing known as there is nothing known as fake or genuine. It's all, everything what sells is correct. Deterrence, of course, I mean now that's the new order that we have to go in for it. So with my media panelist, before I throw him, I'll just put him, give him some indicators that see, media has to play a very important role in the entire this kind of a setting when we talk about the AI-based setting. And where media has to play a role, I'll put first the negative part of it, that because media is not very high-tech, they are not from the technology background, they have adopted technology as a part of this entire thing. For you, it is extremely difficult to check what a techie creates, which is misinformation or a fake video or thing. How do you, in media, you intend that your fact check can be done when there are no facts available? So over to you.
Hello. It's coming?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. Not coming. See, media has been using AI technology. The main point here I wanted to focus on, that is not the technology itself. There are few things, the execution of technology, that is the most important thing, how you utilize, because every technology has some good or some bad points. in that case, what is my point of view is, so how it is executed, how it is implemented, that is the most important thing. In media also there are good people, there are bad people who are using, sometimes they are using in a good way. So far as like we use ChatGPT, sometimes we use ChatGPT, but I find that there are plagiarism also in the news or information collected through ChatGPT. In that case, we have to go to different sources, and therefore we confirm that whether it is the right news or it is a bad news. Another point that I want to focus is that how to execute the intelligence. That is what I wanted to say in the beginning. Like, see, AI impersonation, deep fakes, it has not been new. I don't find it is new. It has been used in ancient days also, in so many ways. Impersonation of Ravan पंडित बन के आ गया था तो फिर उसका ये हो गया था. It's not that it is something new. Now, who is utilizing, how to check it, that is the most important part today. Like when computers started, when computer age came, there was a huge enterprise that there will be deficiency of employment and human resource will be out of the market. But computer itself has not generated such a large amount of job opportunities. The same way AI is today, it is, of course, there are some threats are coming up out of AI, there misinformation and disinformation. But then AI is going to give an opportunity so that new job creations will be done, and that will give another boost in the market. So this is what I meant.
Yeah.
Millions of jobs.
Yeah, so great. I mean, that's one aspect of it, the job creation and verification and validation of any input that you get. So, my question to Mr. Roshan is, can AI and AI model, machine learning models trained on flawed or unstructured data can corrupt the output? Yeah, so can AI, artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithm that you develop on unstructured data and which is not very corroborated can affect, and if it is a self-learning algorithm, the machine is self-learning it all the time when it gets an input. How do you actually protect against such algorithm when the machine is self-learning and unsupervised?
Right. So we have seen very closely the critical aspects of AI. So nowadays it's a time to, in our first keynote speaker we have was in the change is constant. So adoption is very much important. We are seeing AI everywhere. And at the same time there is a fear of threat as well, right? But I have very different perspective on this, on the AI as a threat. So in my view, the threat is more than AI and ML itself. Guess what it could be. So this is nothing but I have my own experience implementing a guard patrol solutions over 1200 plus sites. So I have seen very closely our first line of defense, that is the physical security. So I'm just linking with the industrial security what we are doing right now, right? So we are into surveillance, larger automations everywhere. But when it comes to the guard who is at the gate, he's still following this type of paper checklist. So multiple paper checklists, they are juggling with so many registers to input each and every log in that. So when we provide such data to AI, then what will happen, right? So AI will just say, I give up. Because we are giving unstructured data to AI, which definitely give you wrong predictions. And we are learning a ML models with the flawed data. So definitely it will overlook all the red flags basically. I have seen one of the command center where one guy is sitting and he's just preparing all data in Excel and preparing a dashboards. So I was completely shocked seeing there are so many activities are going on at physical security level at different sites in pan India, and all data coming in Excel to that guy, and then he's preparing a dashboard. So this is actually where the risk begins. And at the same time, all industry leaders are pushing their boundaries, right? So for better enhanced security, robust structures. So from my point of view, it's very important to go for complete digitization. When AI comes, when we go for complete digitization, then AI will give us the true potential. So it's a time to go for complete digitizations where the data will be very structured, aligned, which is a cyber compliance, and then the AI will show its true potential. So as the 3-4 topics which Sir has covered. So I have an experience with one of the company having 400 plus sites pan India. So with complete digitizations, within a year, 7 million checklist has been filled with application. So see, with this historic data, what all predictions can come, right? A surprise petrol can come, which cameras are failure in a regular period of interval, and we can check the historic path as well. Many times it's very much important for the predictive maintenance. In that, AI will play a very crucial role. The reason is many times maintenance comes and we are just shocked about that when was last the maintenance come on that equipment. So when we have AI in the place, it will give you the prompt. So this is the device which you have to look into right now. And again, the first time fix, we can bind that as well, right? So all things will get streamlined in that manner. So this is very much important, and answers our question that the structured data is very much important that we have to look. And at the same time, when we talk about the threat, the deep fake, multi-layered authentication, what we have seen in DigiSuraksha, right? So these precautions, cyber compliances at the same time are important. And when I attend the sessions, because the AI, although we are saying the job, our opportunities are there, but at the same time fears are also there, because Sir also gave example that one application has been developed. So being an Indian, we have to keep a human touch also alive by going parallel with the AI. So this is all from my end.
Just a quick add-on on that question. Yes, you're right. So unstructured data and an uncontrolled autonomous machine learning model. What it'll do is, in future, when you, it will tell that we lost the Pakistan war in 2005. So I hope that answers the question, because what it'll do is it'll take all the unstructured data, and it has been trained in a way that will pick up the open source information, and that's where we lost as a nation, where we could not do that information warfare. And our inputs are less, वो कम है, और उनके भरे पड़े हुए हैं, और ओपन सोर्स ओपन डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में है. तो वो मॉडल्स फ्यूचर में यही बताएंगे कि 2005 में पाकिस्तान ने हिंदुस्तान को बहुत अच्छी तरह से हरा.
So, in fact, the organizer was asking me to conclude this session because AI is not that important for industrial security, and it can be understood. It's such an easy topic that it can be understood in 5 to 7 minutes time. So, I think I leave the floor open for a few questions till the time they don't show me my head, because I'm not looking that side now, so that I don't see whether they tell me stop or whatever. So please go ahead with 2-3 questions that we can take on as a panelist.
Sir, nowadays the Labor Department generally are, using the A4 registers which are absolutely unstructured and they are not required basically.
नहीं सुनाई दे रहा था.
Yeah, University Industry, Labor Department, they are still insisting on the A4 registers which are absolutely unstructured and basically not required in the current scenario, but still we have to follow it.
So, why actually pinpointing Labor Department? Because it is there all across. You go your आपका जो तहसीलदार है आपके इसका he will maintain it on a cotton का paper पे maintain करता है आपका सारा block. So there are a lot of it's digitization, as he spoke about. Digitization is going to take a little time, because we are not a small country like Israel or these kind of countries who can digitize in one go. एक बार में 100 लोगों को भेजा और 2 महीने में सारा digitize हो जाएगा, ऐसा है नहीं. We are continent. So it definitely takes time to digitize. So gradually what we have done is the digitization has come to those departments which are very critical first. It has gone with probably health records, with your unique identification number, UIDAI, and then we have gone in. So gradually we are going toward digitization. Today, like somebody was saying that he travels all across the globe and every day is a regular passenger. And today he clears the entire security area in the airport in less than 5 to 7, 8 minutes. And that time is only for that walking part of it, not otherwise. Otherwise, if you calculate it, it's hardly a few seconds that takes you to, clear your entire security thing. So gradually we are evolving, we are going to digitization stage, but with this kind of digitization, there comes a risk also. It's not that someday, I think you will add on to this entire thing that, someday if a wrong algorithm is fed or earlier we used to talk about APIs, now we talk about algorithms. So if an algorithm is corrupted, then the decision is not going to be optimal, it is going to be suboptimal. So please, I think you can add something.
Yeah, some problems are good to have actually. There are countries who are very much non-digital and they are very safe. वहाँ बड़ी शांति है. तो थोड़ा बहुत रहने दीजिए. और थोड़ा बहुत जहाँ पे where lot of CX is required, customer experience is required, where you add lot of value. I think those are the places we should take as a hotspot for automation and digitization. Otherwise, I think थोड़ा बहुत चलने दीजिए क्योंकि उससे नौकरियाँ भी बरकरार रहेंगी और it's good to have a problem.
I'm part of a Capt AI task force.
Sure, sir.
And we are actually designing a training syllabus for basic, implementation and adoption of AI for security guards and supervisors, right? Right. And we have actually thrown some questionnaire also open to the market, right? But just want to, just a few points from you would be really helpful to us. That what are the 5 most important points we must keep in mind in, basic points while ensuring this adoption of AI for security guard and supervisor?
I know.
The दायरा कम कर दिया. It should be for all the citizens also. Everybody who is using.
No, we are from Capt.
I understand, but I'll give an input which is generic and also helpful for that. So first of all, you have to understand anything that you touch every day. Sir is typing something. ये रिकॉर्ड बन गया, अब वो वापस नहीं रिवर्स होने वाला है. अभी आपने पिछले 10 सेकंड जो मोबाइल पे स्पेंड किया, it's there. It's going to be there in the digital world for the rest of your life and for your future generations as well. So which means that आप audit trails जितना कम हो सके उतना create करिए. यहाँ पे बात कोई कर रहा था कि थोड़ा responsible democracy, कोई बात कह रहा था कि need basis पे ही बोलो. किसी वो जेंटलमैन गेल वाले जेंटलमैन ने बोला था. तो आप अपना डिजिटल सिग्नेचर्स उतना ही क्रिएट करिए जितना कम है. मैं इतना AI करता हूँ, मैं इतना टेक्नोलॉजी करता हूँ, मैं सिर्फ फेसबुक चलाता हूँ, वो भी अपने लोगों से कनेक्टेड रहने के लिए, और एक जीमेल और अपना ऑफिशियल ईमेल आईडी, और बाकी मैं डिजिटल दुनिया में घूमता ही नहीं हूँ. मेरे को आप ढूंढ लो नहीं पाओगे. मैं बड़े बड़े काम करता हूँ पर मेरे को नहीं ढूंढ पाओगे आप डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में. सो कीप दैट थिंग्स अवे. फ्रॉम सिक्योरिटी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, आई थिंक ये जो टेक्नोलॉजी स्पर्श ने दिखाया, इस टाइप की टेक्नोलॉजीज़ का एडॉप्शन जो है वो जो है उसका अवेयरनेस कि होता क्या है, फेशियल रिकग्निशन क्या है, कोई कैसे पेनिट्रेट करेगा, वो एक फेलियर मोड इफेक्ट एनालिसिस कर लीजिए सिंपल सा कि भाई क्या क्या फेलियर्स हो सकते हैं, और उसका RPN बना लीजिए, रिस्क प्रायोरिटी नंबर. ये टॉप 5 रिस्क हैं आपके. इस टॉप 5 रिस्क को आप देखते रहो. फिर जनरल अवेयरनेस ऑफ आपके बच्चे क्या कर रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स लोग प्लीज़ उनका मॉनिटर करिए. चाइल्ड बहुत सारे साइट्स हैं, YouTube है, XYZ, वहाँ पे चाइल्ड लॉक्स हैं, और थोड़ा थोड़ा बीच भी मॉनिटर करिए क्योंकि वो सब बहुत वनरेबल है. और जितना हो सके डिजिटल वर्ल्ड से लिमिटेड इंटरेक्शन रखिए एज अ सिविलियंस और एज अ प्रोफेशनल्स. दैट्स ऑल आई कैन से. दैट इज हाउ इट विल गोना हेल्प.
I have one feedback.
Yeah, sure.
So, sir, as you said, for supervisor and security, so first is a reliable solution, which is a cyber compliance is important. Second, we have multiple agencies and a single company having a multiple pan-India setup. So in that case, an aggregator platform should be developed in that we can rating a security guard itself as well, because there are the shift, their performance, and definitely all the risks are coming through that only. So aggregator platform where we can generalize all these things of rating as well. So when I'm switching to the other company, they will already aware about the performance of that, because right now we are just thinking on the site level. So your point is very beneficial where we are thinking on the point of security and supervisor level. So that will be shared with the complete industry basically.
आपके सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस में सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम ये है, इफ़ आई एम वेयरिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ अ ड्रेस आई कैन गो टू एनी सोसाइटी राइट नाउ एंटर एज अ रेजिडेंट. सो वो आपकी सबसे बड़ी वनरेबिलिटी है, और उसी के लिए स्पर्श और ये जो डिजी सुरक्षा से लेके बहुत सारे फेशियल आइडेंटिफिकेशंस के बहुत सारे सॉल्यूशंस अवेलेबल है मार्केट में. अच्छी कॉल सॉल्यूशंस है, वन स्टॉप सॉल्यूशन है. यहाँ तक कि आईडी भी नहीं करना है, आपको चेहरा दिखाना है सिर्फ, अपने रेजिडेंट को ब्लॉक करना है. तो इस टाइप की चीज़ों को आपको अडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि जो चोर है ना वो जुगाड़ ही ढूंढ रहा है. जिसको चोरी करना है वो तो सिर्फ आपके सिस्टम में पेनिट्रेशन में कहाँ घुसेगा वो ढूंढ रहा है, चाहे वो साइबर वर्ल्ड में हो, चाहे वो डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में हो, या फिजिकल वर्ल्ड में हो.
So we'll take the last question if there is any, otherwise, yeah, please.
So in what all ways?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's wait. Use the time.
So in what all ways can we be used in industries at large?
Of course. We will take.
Let's assume you're Mr. Adani. I can shatter your stock market thing. If I'm a bad guy and I'm sitting somewhere in some other country, एक VPN लेके बैठ गया और मैं डीफेक्स इतने क्रिएट करके इतने फ्लैटर कर दूंगा मार्केट में कि आपका 20-25% अगले 2-3 दिन में, जब तक आप उसका कवर अप करोगे तब तक आपके स्टॉक मार्केट डाउन हो चुका होगा. ये क्या है, ये एक इंस्टेंट क्रिएट करता है आपके लिए, एक यूफोरिया क्रिएट करता है, और वो यूफोरिया में ही डैमेज हो जाता है. उसी डैमेज में वो बेनिफिट ले लेता है, राइट? तो यस, यस, वेरी नाइस क्वेश्चन. उसके लिए है एआई ही, जो कहते हैं ना कि सांप का जहर जो होता है वही उसका दवा भी है. उसके लिए आपको मतलब स्कॉलर्स को इंगेज करना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू बिल्ड इन अ सोल्यूशन. वो आपके प्रोएक्टिव सॉल्यूशंस बना देंगे जो है सिस्टम में, जहाँ पे भी कहीं पे भी डीप फेक जनरेट हो रहा है वो अलर्ट लेवल क्रिएट कर देंगे, और अवेयरनेस राइट अथॉरिटीज़ को पता चल जाएगा कि ये डीप फेक वीडियोस डीप फेक नैरेटिव या एक पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट शुरू हुआ है डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में. ये बड़ा आसान चीज़ है, आप लोगों को कॉम्प्लिकेट लग रही है, हमारे लिए आसान है. हम जानते हैं, हम पकड़ लेते हैं उनको, पर हम क्या करें, किसको बोलें? कोई है नहीं, होना तो चाहिए कुछ. और थानेदार को बोलूँगा वो कहेगा हाँ क्या बात कर रहे हो, और कौन जाएगा थानेदार को बोलने की भाई इधर ये दुकान चल रहा है. बीच में सीतारमण जी का भी आया था, है ना, वो एक कोई ऐप है, वो चोरी का ऐप है, उसमें लोग रजिस्टर कर रहे हैं, है ना, वो आपकी ओएस से डेटा चुरा रहा है. और सीतारमण जी कह रही है ये बहुत बढ़िया ऑफर निकला है, और वो लग रही है सीतारमण जी, और उसने कलेक्ट कर लिया होगा 100-200,000 डेटा. अब वो खेल रहा है आपके डेटा के साथ.
You can also play with the voices actually. Ma'am, you come from the defense background?
Sorry,
You come from the defense background?
defense.
Yeah? No, okay. So people in the defense background, we used to adopt this while I was working with the National Security Establishment. For IW related stuffs, I'm talking about old days, 2007, 2008. You talk about this deceptions and, such kind of deep fake. Deep fake is a comparatively new word today. But this kind of thing used to happen earlier because we play with the psyche. I used to control a lot of hackers together. And we used to play with the psyche of an individual. It's a brain of the battle of the mind. It's not a battle, it's not a technical battle per se. When you talk about this, how do you detect, how do you find out, it's all aberrations. This game is of aberrations. Because on one side, when AI is talking about behavior, patterns, and, statistics, the aberrations is the only one which does not fall into this line. And it is kept outside by AI guys. Aberrations is something they put it in one small quarter niche dalte hain, level of confidence. For this AI algorithm is 96%. So the 4% is an aberration that is going to give you a lot of leads into what is something that you need to actually see through. तो हम लोग क्या करते थे ना कि वी न्यू कि एक जनरल साहब से एक कैप्टन साहब जो है ही विल नेवर गो बैक एंड क्रॉस चेक कि आपने क्या ऐसा बोला है. And this is where we used to use their fake narratives, we used to get a general's mail ID or look-alike mail ID, send a mail, okay, you look at this, what is the position of that, So we used to get a lot of information coming out there. Because it's all mind, that, okay, can I go and check with my, maybe the top man who is in my organization, can I have that courage? So this is also a problem of an organizational culture. That you must have a structured hierarchy, yet very transparent in its operation. then probably you will be in a position to actually pick up a phone and say, okay, is it you? You know, you should have that kind of a courage. That will protect you from any of these kinds of fake. Like आपका ये देख रहे हैं digital arrest वाला जो इन्होंने बताया. Why is digital arrest actually? To be very honest, if I was in the helm of affair, I would have said that digital arrest जो होते हैं उनको होने दो. That's their problem. You know, if you have something to lose, then only you are getting digital arrested and paying money for it. You know, आपके पास blackmail होने के लिए कुछ है, तभी तो आप digital arrest हो रहे हैं. तो होने दीजिए, फिर इसमें रोकना क्या है इसको?
Sorry for the interruption. I think we have to close this
Yeah,
session. Thank you for the engaging discussion.
Okay, she is the moderator.
Thank you all the panelists and the moderator. I request Mr. Manan to give the token to the panelist and the moderator of the session. I request to give the token to the panelist, Mr. Avanish Pathak. To Mr. Roshan Babarwal.
Roshan.
I request the panelists to be here for the group photograph. To Mr. Santosh Pathak. And to the moderator, Dr. Alok Vijayant. Thank you everyone for the discussion. I request the team from the Techno Purple to kindly come forward, and I request Mr. Manan to give them the token. They are the silver sponsors of the event, Techno Purple. I request all the panelists and the moderator of the panel discussion 1 to be here for the group photograph. Please come forward for the group photograph. After this, we quickly move ahead with the panel discussion 2, which is on cyber physical threats in industrial setting. I would request the moderator of this session, Dr. Professor Rajiv Mathur, CSM, sir, kindly join the dais. Okay. And I request the panelists to join the dais. Ms. Rekha Garola, Director Global Security and Safety, Adobe. The second panelist is Mr. Ankit Savarwal, Head Control Risk, South Asia Region. Lieutenant Colonel Sandeep Mohapatra, MSM, MMTC PAMP, and Major Ranjan Bhatia, Manager Security PNB. I welcome you on the panel discussion 2, and over to the moderator. Thank you.
He's got to stand. Please sit down. Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all of you. I've been tasked to finish this session in 30 minutes. So I will try to do justice. That's why I requested Juhi not to give introductions, because everybody sitting on the dais do not, sir, need any introduction. What we are talking about today is cyber physical threats in industrial settings. So the convergence of cyber or technical and physical security We'll use the hand mic otherwise. The convergence of cyber and physical security, actually we are trying in India for a long time. I remember a time when, I used to work for a guarding organization, and there were so many thefts of telephone equipment happening in a hospital, in a healthcare setup. And we were asked that physically, one of the gentlemen is smiling because he knows what the story is. So we were asked to use technology to reduce those thefts of telephone, the MTNL bigger telephone equipment. So what we did, we installed about 25 casings of the cameras, only the casings. And I think out of 25, there were 2 actual cameras. And incidentally, there was no theft from next morning. So what I'm trying to say is that technology has played a more deterrent role in the security setup. But what is happening today with AI, machine learning, and we are using it in surveillance system, we saw technology that Digi Suraksha, we created a technology and we are now creating a technology to deter or to improve upon that technology which cannot be misused. So I think it's going to be a very long discussions of years and ages together. But we have a very expert panel here sitting to discuss very briefly on the subject. But before we start, I would like all of you to please have only 1 minute of brief introduction of what we do and your opening remarks on the subject. Then the subject is cyber physical threats in the industrial setting. Starting with Rekha, ladies first.
My name is Rekha and I'm a director of safety and security for
Your opening remarks on the subject, cyber physical threats in industrial setting.
We used to talk about cyber, this is IT and OT, that is operational technology, that is the need to have a unified solution for these kind of threats.
Ankit.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Capt. I'm a director with the control risks and I look after the practice security consulting in India, South Asia. Opening remarks, I think the unique threats that we see in IoT or an industrial setup are no different, except I think maybe for some parts they may not be as diligently managed in that setup of industrial, bringing in an extra layer of not having regulation or not having something else to kind of deter it. So maybe it just becomes that much more critical because we also have critical infrastructure connected to it. That's my opening remark.
Thank you. Sandeep.
Yeah, I'm Lieutenant Sandeep Mauraka. I'm an ex-military person presently working with MMTC PAF. It is a gold refinery with high-tech security. So on the subject cyber physical threat, I consider that even if cyber takes on anything, the physical threat has to be manned. Like the boots on ground cannot be replaced by eyes in the skies. So that is my belief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Major Ranjan Bhatia. I am a manager of security for Punjab National Bank. My one-liner for cyber and physical threat is that gone are the days when the CISO and CSO used to work in silos. Now the integration is the next big thing. And if we do not do it, the organization is going to suffer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have from the IT, we have from the consulting side, we have from the industrial setup, and we have a gentleman from the banking. So we have 4 different perspectives here. Starting with Ranjan, I'll come back. I'll start with you. What are the most pressing cyber physical threats that industry face today? And we would like to hear more from the banking perspective from you.
So, considering the banking industry, the recent Indo-Pak conflict, in our bank, we faced more than 3,000 attacks per day during the conflict. And just because we were working with integrated solutions software, we had stronger firewalls, we had our solutions in place. That is the reason we were able to evade the attacks done by our enemy. And that is why I told you that if the CISO and the CSO are working in silos, then the organization is going to suffer, the industry is going to suffer. Because the most weak link is the human. And when we look at the humans, there are the internal factors and the external factors. The internal factors in the banking industry, when we want to control the internal factors, we can say that we rotate their shifts when they operate. We put guards outside. We put CCTV monitors to control their movements. And external factors we can take into consideration, like the perimeter security, the CCTV cameras which are put in place. Now coming on to the cyber and physical threats which have happened around the world, I would like to start with the first and foremost cyber attack that happened around the world was Stuxnet, which was done on Iran's nuclear program, Natanz uranium enrichment factory. And US and Israel agencies were a part of it. And they were able to hack the uranium enrichment plant of Iran, and they were able to delay and cause millions and millions of dollars in losses. Secondly, I would like to bring upon the Russia and Ukraine war, where Russian hackers were able to hack the electricity grid of Ukraine, and they were able to do a blackout in major cities of Ukraine, and that very day the Russian missiles hit Ukraine. So they were able to do a significant damage to Ukraine just by hacking the industrial sectors. So we need a stronger industrial control systems so that we can evade these kind of hacking attempts that are being done on the industry. And thirdly, I want to bring to your notice that Tesla, which is a major car maker of the world, was hacked just because they had a spoofing phantom sign which used to come in their software and which was never present physically on ground. And this was never agreed by Tesla, but it has been confirmed by various organizations. Any kind of ransomware attack which takes place, for example, the Colonial Pipeline in the US, it was hacked by a hacker in the year 2021, and this pipeline is a major pipeline which supplies fuel all over the United States. And after just giving the ransom, he released that site. Otherwise, the US had to suffer a lot of damages. And the last I want to bring to your notice is the supply chain attacks, whether it be a software attack or a hardware attack. It starts with the supply chain, initial product when it is manufactured. And anybody and everybody who has put in that supply chain attack can operate it remotely.
Thank you so much. That was very, very informative. And I'll come to Ankit immediately and ask that. What are your thoughts on this? And you do consulting with a lot of global organizations. So what are some of the risk mitigation strategies that you would like to advise on some of the case studies that Ranjan just explained?
I think from a perspective of industrial security, it's no different from any other setup, except that the differences lie in terms of how you're running the ship. I think also from a perspective of where industrial security is, the malware as well as the exfiltration or just the number of cyber attacks that we'll be facing would be grossly understated. And one of the reasons for that is typically the reluctance of organizations to come out and talk about it in the open. The second element being that the regulators aren't really that keen on getting this information in the first place. So if you have a BFSI or if you have a medical component or if you have a direct client contractual requirement, those incidents are much more likely to make it to the public. So from a perspective of what I or anybody else would advise from those perspectives, I think the standard elements, the zero trust architecture has been around for quite some time. That continues to be the case even in the industrial setup. You have to look at all of your standard controls, whether they are the physical aspect of controls, the actual access to devices, networks, servers, data centers, they are pretty much the same. Similarly, in terms of segregating networks, being able to create components which are specific to the production environment versus, let's say, the office environment, having controls on both sides. Very simple aspects, and I think in terms of even the number of audits that I've done over the years, the most simple vulnerabilities are the ones that are typically hacked. So you will still have admin or super admin credentials which will not be changed even months after the person's left, or they'll be available on common groups. You still have challenges with file and file servers and data servers which are just lying around, and you have data pipes running in and out of them. You have rogue connections. You have IoT devices which have been brought into the setup without having gone through the configuration changes. You still have your CCTV cameras, your SCADAs with the password of 12345, because that's what your admin person or that's what your security person on the job will be able to remember. You don't have any firmware updates. We do not have any challenges in terms of having signed the AMCs, but how do you run it? How do you take those systems offline? How do you get them patched? How do you get those vulnerabilities fixed? I don't think there's a uniform way to go about it. It depends on the company. You have to protect the endpoint. You have to protect the network. You have to protect everything in transit via encryption. And I think it's the entire sort of network. But the most important element wherever you go will still be people. And even the ransomware, even the other components that my fellow panelists talked about, was the people are the most critical element, because if they do not understand something that needs to be done, or the change management has not been brought about, then I can still have somebody in the factory one fine day coming in and plugging in a USB, and that goes down brings down the entire network in a moment of just a few minutes maybe.
Thank you so much. So I hear both of the speakers talking about the most important element is the human resource and how do people react to a situation. I'll come to Rekha and ask her, you manage multiple locations globally, and in case of any such incident, how do you respond to that incident? How do you do incident reporting, and how do you react globally in such situations? And some case studies, some example that if you can share.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Rajiv. So I think most of us here sitting here are security professionals, and the last real incident or endemic or pandemic we all handled was COVID. And after that, I think the recent one was India-Pakistan conflict that we still are trying to, and I'm just using this anecdote because this is real fresh, fresh out of the oven, ekdam taza tareen. Now, there are 4 or 5 elements when we talk about, handling such kind of a thing, and talking about multi-locations. Now, see what happened, and I think the earlier panel, Mr. Pathak is sitting somewhere, I guess. So he spoke about the kind of threats that we actually encountered this time. So I think the very first element gonna be your incident management program. We have different terminologies for this. Some people call it crisis management, some people call it incident management. But the first point is whether you have it or not, your program. And then when I talk about this program, I just touched upon that point that it has to be your IT and OT, which I call operation technologies, coming together, integrated really well, because you need to have a unified or uniform approach towards the problem. See, the key lies in the timing. If you know who is going to do what, when, and how, that kind of really helps in I would say containing the damage. Now, talking about the containment, point number 2 is that your containment is more important than your restoration. And it's very human nature that when we talk about such things, the very first thing that comes to our mind is that how fast we can really go back to the basics. So that is important, but more important than that is your containment of the damage. So I'll just put it like this. Let's say you have a leaking dam, so you would want to seal it before you really start building another wall, right? So that's about the containment. Third element, I would say communication. That's very important when we have multiple locations. And when I talk about communication, it is internal and external communication. So you need to know who's going to communicate what, when, where. If this is internals in today's world, if you do not reach out to your people, your employee, do not tell them, this social media thing can really make them feel a little nervous. So it's important to have right kind of communication so that they know what is happening. And of course, for the external communication, you have your comms team and you have already preset communication that you want to send out to them. Fourth element, I would say cross-functional teams. That's where, when there's a crisis, that crisis is not just for, the cyber crisis or a physical crisis, that crisis is for the company or for the institution. And when we talk about such crises, we need to have people, let's say from HR, from communication, from legal, IT, cyber, physical security, all come together and establish a kind of a war room, not necessarily a physical war room, it can be a virtual war room as well. But the point is that everybody is connected, there's a real-time monitoring happening, there are people there in the war room who are kind of understanding, analyzing the situation, and then taking the calls. And fifth, and the most important thing is that lessons learned, resiliency, right? We talk about resilience and we say that, bounce back. I would say bounce forward. Bounce forward because, whatever happened has already happened. Now that, damage is done, you have containment. Now, maybe the restoration part, but what are the lessons learned? And if there is a kind of a playbook wherein, you are kind of keeping a tab of what went wrong and how you can really better it next time. So of course you are bouncing forward, smarter, more secure, I would say. I think these 5 elements, if we put together, that would really help us to kind of ensure that next time if something like this happens, we are better prepared. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So I hear you saying that what we need is employee awareness, training, and a communication plan. But I heard a senior general in a conference, and he said, whenever there is a crisis, the first casualty is a plan. The first casualty is a plan. So we make all the plans and we prepare all the employees and we do training, etc. But if there is a situation, most of the time these plans may or may not work. I'll come to Sandeep and ask that if such situation arises, what do you think is the role of the leadership and how can collaboration help in this situation?
Now, I'll take on from the last slide that you spoke that when you plan, the first casualty is plan. So C is the casualty, so next C is contingency. So if you're prepared for contingencies, then you can take on things. That is what we exactly learned in this ops window, that we were prepared for all types of contingency. It was not limited or restricted to plans or lessons learned. Taking on from what Rekha said, that yes, we should go in for a lessons learned. Now, we have never learned this lesson that war can be limited only in the air. But this time we saw that war was entirely air, battle of air and air defense. So every time we evolve. Now coming to a question of collaboration. As far as cyber physical threat is concerned, we need to collaborate a lot. We need to collaborate between industry, government, and the third major part which we are overlooking every time is the academia. There are ITs, there are academies in which the kids, the previous speaker was talking about Gen Zs and Gen AI. Are we actually utilizing their capabilities? We are not. Whatever challenge we are facing, Manan is here. Manan, are you aware of an organization called CERT? So CERT, Manan is expert on UAVs and drones. CERT has recently, post this operation, CERT is the Center for Electronic, it is a immediate emergency response team for cyber attacks.
It is under the Ministry of Information and IT. So this has released a keynote on how to operate these drones and UAVs in civil domain, considering the likely cyber threats. So, are we actually utilizing these platforms? There is an existing collaboration. The government is trying its best, but in this forum, maybe we can reach out to the people who do matter. Except for the cybercrime helpline, which I can assure that 80% of us would be knowing, but still 20% would not be knowing. 1903 is the cybercrime helpline number. We are all vulnerable when we are using UPIs, when we are using any mails which can be hacked, but we are not aware of what to do immediately. The collaboration, existing collaboration by two ministries. One, the IPS officer who addressed us, he told about the facility that the the Home MHA is providing, and there is another facility which is the Information Technology Ministry is providing. So what we don't have is a buzzer. Second, a collaboration from the industry to the government, and third, what are the lessons learned and how to fight against such kind of hacks or any kind of cyber attempts. So collaboration essentially is required to be coming to a single platform, maybe with the government agency or maybe a joint venture between the three, that is academy, industry and the government. And we can always work towards it because Capt is here. Capt is a very strongly acting as a mediator between the private security and helping out the government to making policies. So this kind of collaboration will definitely take us forward in case of cyber physical threat as well.
Thank you so much. I would come to Ankit and ask the same question. Do you think, globally, if you are doing the consulting, is this public-private partnership, especially in case of cyber physical threats and cyber physical security, do they work?
They do, yes, because at the end of the day, the number of zero-day threats that you would have would always far exceed what's available. So the more the intelligence, the more the samples, the more the database, the better prepared you are. And I think when we recently saw the US pull out some of the aid elements from some of its NIST guidelines and other things, people felt the pinch because a lot of people were directly using that kind of stuff. But that is the power of what you can actually have. So if you have a very strong CERT and the CERT has a very good set of tools, malware removal tools, has advisories, has the kind of top threats to watch out for, that's a very good example of something like that. But at the same time, you also need to work this backwards. How many private players are really willing to give away information about what's really happening in their domain unless they have to? And I think that's where the enrichment happens. So yes, it's very much possible. It's also very much possible to bring to the fore from a perspective of public and private partnership, because at the end of the day, there are certain things which will be more strategic in nature. For example, if you have devices now, all the IoT devices would have an element of processing, an element of storage, an element of transmission for a very large part. So they are independent autonomous devices. Now, if we have a state actor which has the capability to plan 3 years in advance, get the pagers, create a bit of detonation inside a pager, move them all the way through 3 intermediaries eventually to get it to their adversary, there is of course a private, public play. But how do you use it is the question. Are you using it for defense? Are you using it for offense? The possibilities are endless. So yes, it exists. I think it could be better. Also because I think, and I'm talking more in the Indian context, I think a lot of things have changed over the past 5 to 10 years in terms of the amount of upgradation we've seen in terms of the just the thought process with the government and the decision makers to say how do they view this. If we see, and there is no sort of infantry movement on the borders, it doesn't mean that there isn't a war taking place. If we don't see cyber warriors not making a claim, it doesn't mean that they are not on the job. If we don't see something being reported exactly in the real world space, whether it's social media or physical media or it's an information bureau note, it doesn't mean it did not happen. Right? It's a question of how are you collaborating, and a very simple example of something like that could even be the media. You can create, you can distort, you can also use it as a warfare tool. So the same applies on the industrial side. I think it's a question of the government has a lot of stake because it also has a lot of navratnas. It also manages all of the critical infrastructure. But then there is a component of bringing in efficiency, which is where you bring in the private players. You also need investment from them to be able to go and create employment. You need them to kind of go into greenfield areas in India and remote areas. So there is definitely an interplay. Could it be better? Of course, it can always be better. It's not ideal, but yes, just some thoughts around how it can be better is that kind of mediation.
Thank you so much. So in the interest of time, Ranjan, I'll come very quickly to you with 1 minute, saying that what do you think are the future trends? Do you think more vulnerabilities? Do you think more solutions? 1 minute.
I will just conclude in 1 minute. When we were in the age of apes, we wanted to develop wheel. We developed the wheel. In the 19th century, we wanted to fly. We developed the airplane. Now, in the 21st century, we want to develop AI. We will develop AI, but AI should not overpower us. The vulnerabilities are there, and we should not let AI take over all the sectors of the nation or the globe. Now, coming on to the vulnerabilities, we have a lot of vulnerabilities like adversarial attacks, data poisoning, private key thefts, etc. and etc. I can go on and on. But nowadays, when we see our children using ChatGPT for homework, what do you think? Isn't their mind going redundant? It is. It is indeed going redundant. And that is the reason I'm of the opinion that AI should be only used where it is necessary to be used. Like for nation's security or for global researchers. It should be used for post-mortem and not as a primary thing. Otherwise, AI is going to fight the war and we'll be taking a backseat. So in future, we have to take control of the sectors that we need to use AI in, primarily and secondary. That needs to come into the consideration when it comes to national security or industrial settings or factory or production, anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that was perhaps from the more physical security point of view, but I'll come to Rekha, an out of syllabus question. That you are an IT organization and there is no computer system in the world that does not have one of your product. What is it that you are preparing for the future and what kind of vulnerabilities that you think in the IT sector?
Thank you for the free marketing of my company here, Chief, I would say. But yes, I was talking about it and I was very conscious of the time earlier, because when we talk about these kind of threats, what happened recently was, the surge in cyber threat and cyber attacks, right? And then I think we were not prepared. We were not prepared because we were not expecting it. Again, I think few points I would like to just, sum it up. One, somebody here, one of the panelists, esteemed panelists, said that human is the weakest link. And I would say your perimeter, we call it first line of defense, to be the strongest link. It can turn the weakest link if we are not very conscious of how we are securing our first line of defense. That basically means how are you training, what kind of trainings you are providing to your employees, right? Now coming to trainings and awareness, again, is it like once in a year kind of LMS training? How many of you really remember what really what was the LMS stuff when you did 2024 some LMS training? You don't remember it, right? So we need to do some sort of innovation out there, maybe a simulation kind of a thing, real mock drill kind of things, but something which is relevant and where people are there, not just dependent on once in a year kind of a thing, something relevant, significant. So innovate there. If you are the policy makers and you have say in really conceptualized training, I would really urge that that is the key, that how well you are connected to your employees. It just cannot be a security or IT or a cyber person, it has to be everybody. Third is, we say walk the talk. So it should be top to bottom, not drift from top to bottom, right? So when your leader can talk about security, I would say in the same breath, the way he speaks about revenue and growth, I think that's where the change would come, and that would be a welcome change. So net, it is more about how well prepared you are, what kind of policies you have in terms of training, because training is not just about security, you need to own it. Maybe devise mechanism where you can award or recognize people. We humans, we want our name to be acknowledged. So why not reward someone who has kind of highlighted even a very small and minuscule part of our security threat. So get everybody involved. It has to be more inclusive than just one or maybe two particular functions, running the show. That would be right.
Thank you so much. We have almost come to the close, and Juhi is, has reminded me many times, but I will take 2 minutes more, Juhi, and request Sandeep that he has been an air defense officer while he was wearing the uniform, but a Fauji is always a Fauji. Very quickly, we just saw a cyber physical warfare few days ago. Do you think, can you correlate, can you have a correlation with the physical security? Just 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, and thank you for saying that I was a Fauji. Once a Fauji is always a Fauji. So it is, we all are men in uniform. So this off Sindoor was an entire battle of air and air defense. So I want to draw some lessons from those operations. While you are taking pride in that and feeling proud, again, reconnecting with what Rekha ma'am said, that the day the business owners start talking about security, the way they talk about revenues, is exactly what Modi government has tried to show the business owners. Modi has given the best thing to the defense forces by making this as a business. Now, security is no more a cost center. It is a brand image. It is a promise that the industry is secure enough for any investors to put their money. When that concept is clear, in India, we are not losing out any business because of this war. Rather, we are building a business. India's capabilities have been shown in the world, where India as a platform is gaining revenue. So this is the difference. First difference, from what you draw from Operation Sindoor is...
Only 1 minute more.
Yeah, security is critical and it is business. Second, the security value addition comes from expenditure. So modernization of the defense forces definitely played a very important role. So therefore, in the private security industries also, we need that amount of budgeting, not only for modernization of equipment, also for modernization of the men behind it. So are we actually training our security guards or people in the security? We are not. So that is second learning that we must take. There are many more. The only last thing I should say that whenever we are talking about any plans, we have to think about all kind of contingency and be prepared for it, rehearse it again and again in any security setup, be it cyber, be it physical security. And all cyber threats should have a backup. I'll just give one example of my own company. We are dealing with precious metal. We are producing 50 to 60 kgs of gold a day. So whatever my physical security arrangements are there, they are of very high standards. But for everything which is remotely controlled, I have the backup that anytime I want, I can switch from automated to manual. So it is controlled by the human. And that saves a lot of things when anything like my air defense radars, if it is jammed, every equipment has got the option of switching over to manual so that we can take on the enemy. So that is the basis on which the basics can never be forgotten.
Thank you so much. We'll just close with it with one line closing remarks starting now. One line, Rekha, quickly. One line. And the rest of you can please think that one line scripted.
Yeah, I mean, this was, so I would say, it's everybody's job. Everybody, when I say this IT and cyber, including your other functions as well. So inclusiveness is the key.
Inclusivity. Thank you, Ankit.
I'll say use zero trust on networks, on devices, on people, but still monitor and continue that element
Wonderful.
of monitoring.
Trust yet monitor. Yes, Sandeep, please, one line.
I'll take it on. Collaboration is when you have limited number. We always scream about limited number of security professionals, but how we extended the entire responsibility to entire plant. That if you see something wrong, tell us. So it is collaboration in terms of IT, in terms of physical security, and collaboration is the key.
Thank you so much, Ranjan.
Strong leadership and training to evade cyber and physical threats is the key.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. In my college days, I always remember a professor. He used to always ask, "Is there any question?" So people will raise and say, and they will ask a question. And he always used to say, "Good question. Next question." Unfortunately, we do not have time to take any questions. So we can obviously speak to the panelists. One question?
Next
Ma'am,
question.
Joy ma'am?
Just one question.
One question only.
That's going to be a good question.
So basically, I am from the HR background. So when it comes to physical security, we are looking at the employee safety and the compliance part of it, and how we are prepared in terms of emergencies. So what comes in our mind is operational stability. So I have a question, I framed it. So anybody from the manufacturing unit may relate to that. What are the best practices for integrating physical access control with industrial operations without disrupting productivity? So
Good question.
at the end of the day,
Sandeep, would you like to answer this, please?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
what are the best practices for integrating physical access control with industrial operations without disrupting productivity?
Okay, for that we have a lot of technical support industries available. So access control is a must because right person should only be given the access. We cannot do away with that. That is also part of the compliance and also for the safety of the employees as well as the operation. However, not affecting any operation. What is critical is time. So there are many technologies which are available for access control system. One we had a demonstration recently that face identification. You can have a face identification at multiple locations. So the face identity is done only that the person passes, and the entry for each person has reduced from earlier 14 seconds to now it is coming down to 0.3 seconds, 3 seconds or 0.3 seconds in whatever type of technology you have. Once the access control is timed and it is regulated and number of entry points are more and number of access control is limited, restricted with technology-driven solutions, it can always be achieved.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the knowledgeable panelist here, and thank you so much the audience for patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the brainstorming session. I would request Colonel D.R. Semwal for the felicitation to the panelists. To Ms. Rekha Garola, I request all the panelists to come forward. To Mr. Ankit Sabharwal. To Lieutenant Colonel Sandeep Mohapatra.
भाई आपको तो कम मिलेगा जब पहले बोर्ड बिस्कुट दोगे।
To Major Ranjan Bhatia. And to the moderator of the session, Dr. Professor Rajiv Mathur.
Thank you. तो सब घर में क्या देना वाला Thanks a lot.
I request all the panelists of the session and the moderator for a group photograph.
Thanks.
Please gather for a group photograph. Quickly after this, we move to the fireside chat. It is on the managing uncertainties of business with ever-changing technology innovation. I request Dr. Surbhi Pandey, AI and cyber security enthusiastic academician, fellow DKIA PCSS, NPS, USA PhD on cloud security, MCM, MCA, PGDMM, and Mr. Sumit Bahal, Director Sales, Sparsh CCTV, and he excels in corporate sales, strategic execution, and client engagement. I invite both of you.
Dear audience members, it is a request to please be seated. Please be seated, audience members. Sirs and ma'ams, please be seated. Please take your seats. Sirs, may I please request you to take your seats? Thank you, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know the sessions are running late, and we are probably between you and the lunch. A lot of people would not be, already looking at the time, would be interested to go. I think Dr. Surbhi ji also has have to leave early, so I'm sure this session will be pretty short with respect to the timelines. We'll try to keep it as short as possible. So I think with the topic what has been given today, and we have the cybersecurity and AI enthusiast as well as a PhD into the data security and cloud security part. I would like Surbhi ji to please share your experiences on the topic as well as your other experiences you had working with the government and with a lot of academia, which I'm sure a lot of the people out here would want to listen.
So may I use your mic? All right. Jai Hind. Jai Hind, everyone. And thank you for inviting IAPA to this forum. About my own journey started with uncertainty, that is Bhopal gas strategy. And then since that childhood, I started looking certainty and uncertainty. And that's what is the life journey is all about. Evolving from learning with different mindset, with different, technology pattern with the industry, moving to the armed forces and then to the government, how everything is evolving. And then I started relating that Sarkar, Bazaar, and हम जो बात करते हैं आज के समय में जो Honorable Prime Minister is also saying Samaj, Sarkar and Bazaar, and how together we can sync and then talk about how we'll manage the uncertainty, which is the today's discussion also.
Ma'am, since you have a lot of your experiences with the government and we're speaking about uncertainty as a topic, I think apart from we discussed on the technology, AI, deepfakes, we've touched all those topics since morning. I think I would people here would like to know how these uncertainties are affecting businesses, how and what sort of support or ecosystem the government is providing to support these businesses with the ever-changing technologies that we see today.
So I am not from the business, but certainly, what I could see when I was working on different policies, especially with the METI, and talking to different startups, and when they come to IAPA and all, and then I just see that what is the problem, why that startup failing so early, and what is the reason behind it, why there is a market resistance in this, and what the government of India is doing in coming up with the policy. And slowly and steadily we have seen that the government of India is supporting and fostering innovation, providing not just the financial support but also coming up with the infrastructure, so on and so forth. And that's what is Startup India. Then you can see the TIDE, the Atal Mission Yojana, so many such FO has come, DPIIT has come, right, supporting innovation culture. That somewhere we have this seed, money is going, innovation culture is going, but a lot to change. And very small thing which I could see, and if the startups are here, that something which is unmet, something unserved, that there are problems. If you just pick up those problems which is not yet solved, start lean, but smart work is what unserved, unmet. If you pick up that, I think you will slowly and gradually, may actually break that resistance in the market also. And from the government of India perspective, I always say, when the people come, ma'am, we are not on the GEM portal. They always say, yes, we also have to evolve in our feature that how GEM can allow the DPIIT registered startups and ecosystem under that GEM, so that they are also taken on board by the government. And also we need to work on the something called as we working on the mission mode project. So why can't we have something mission mode funding for them also as, and like I think in the morning you have something on AI, ML, where everyone must have spoken about the ethics, the do's and don'ts, the benefits and the issues also. But I see as, why can't we have this AI and ML mechanism who can actually relate all the startups with the right scheme, so you will get the right scheme with the AI, ML, and the kind of the startup you are coming in, whether it is clean energy, space, agri-tech, education, health tech, X, Y, Z. So somehow we need to come up with some mechanism that AI and ML connecting schemes with the right startup.
I would agree more on that. I myself belong to one of such companies and market segment which has been recently, I would say, had a lot of disruptions, a lot of support as an Indian, indigenous products with a lot of changes in the government policies. So I think I think everybody here would like to know is that how to get access to a lot of such schemes which are there available with the government. I think the ecosystem is something which government enables in terms of the scaling up or funding, or in terms of making policies which are more towards promoting the indigenous manufacturing or indigenous technologies with the latest, since morning we've been talking about the latest war that is still kind of on, and cyber security and cyber attacks that keeps on happening, ma'am. What is the way the government ecosystem supports, which I'm sure with everybody's busy life, a lot of people might not get easy access to. So what are the ways of getting that?
So one question is related to the government schemes and the initiatives maybe accessible to the new startups and the companies. And the one thing, my message is to the startup and innovator, if they are here and you are also here, you should have a painkiller policy in your life rather than vitamins, right? Because the painkillers dissolves very easily. So you know the pain point of the society, and that's what I said, Samaj, right? You know that what is required, and then you look for an opportunity there, and then comes the government supporting you, and that's what is Sarkar is there. I think in today's time, everyone is aware of so many such schemes, but still, if I go to the district, state levels and other places, right, they're not. But then we have, like the METI, they have TIDE 2.0, actually helping the technology incubator in the development ecosystem part. Atal Mission, I think, is every tinkering lab and all is known to everyone. Then we also have Nidhi scheme which has come, Startup India, DPIIT, so many such thing is revolving, but there are many who's not aware. So we should have a centralized approach, one-stop center that from anything you will, like the way we have been, right? Like the way we started with UPI, right? Everyone inclusiveness. So I think the time has come where we have to talk about inclusive schemes where everyone can access with a one-stop, centralized way of accessing it. But again, the question comes, when I met so many startups, around 200, they said, ma'am, the procedure, the document, the text, and X, Y, Z things. So I think somewhere we need to ease those part of also, that is the documentation part, which I think Government of India is already doing in line with that. And the tax exemption, then comes supply chain. There are so many things, the technology is disruptive, changing every time. There's a life cycle of 5 years. So I think with the newcomers who entering into the business and already there, right? And somebody in the morning also has talked about, can't we trust the new startups like the way we trusting Tata, Birla, because I don't know, after 5 years they are going to be there in the market. So if you just talk from the citizen and from the other perspective, they also have a lot of apprehension. Whereas the government is there to support. Somebody said, innovation is a seed. Then I said, government is not the fence. Is what we need to work as in providing that water, sunlight, right? All those things so that we can nurture this. And that's what is the present government is doing so far.
I think I would agree, everybody here also agrees on the topic. But just one thing, ma'am, with what we talk about UPI is one short thing what India has given to global countries in terms of the actual indigenous technology and the way we have started using UPIs across in adopting. A lot of new areas of innovations, technologies are happening where a lot of startups, a lot of Gen Zs we talked about since morning has a lot of good ideas, a lot of good areas to explore. What, as per you, are the biggest opportunities which are upcoming, sitting on working closely with the government? A lot of policy making is happening at that side, which I'm sure is something you not spell out here, but some hints as where all the entrepreneurs should look at the next biggest opportunities to flourish and move on.
So I think sitting there, a lot of ideas coming in. Every minute there is an idea. But every idea cannot be nurtured immediately, right? What is very important for a startup is to think, I always say, initially logic was the tool, right? People sell logic. But today's time, you also thinking about empathy to connect with the real problem, and that's what I always say when you work with the design thinking approach of human-centered approach of coming up with a solution. If you thought and go into the society and identify one such problem, empathy as your tool along with the logic, identity, and serve the unserved, and that's what the mantra I have given, right? That yes, it is a painkiller, immediately you will not, but once it is dissolved, it's boom. So that's what I'm saying, and I think today's generation is much aware, as you said, Gen Z, right? It is much aware, technology savvy. They know what is available in the market, they know available what is there in the scheme also. They know how to align it from the government perspective. Ease is the thing, right? That we need to work on the ease, and that's what I was doing with the May team when I was auditing electronic manufacturing cluster scheme. PLI has come thereafter, right? So many such thing is happening. The TIE 2.0 has come after that. Our job is when we auditing any policy to bring those things on the table, that how we can ease while meeting the startups. So that's already moving on to the startup. I always say that yes, we have to create something and see the certain and uncertain. There are many things you can serve which is unserved so far. So have ideas for those. So that's something I would like to say.
May I add something?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
You can use this mic. I think adding value is always.
Firstly, thank you and very delighted to hear you now. Our organization has written the National Climate Change Adaptation Plan for India, and the author team is here. They are sitting there now, which is being implemented. So the complete startups involvement of private industry, that is a major sector where we have kept the complete policy and funding so that startups come up in the climate change adaptation scheme. Simple example is Pradhan Mantri solar scheme. It has created such a big, huge hub for people where all security industry can take on. If you talk of the energy security now, we all have worked out how hydrogen is going to be changed, how the biofuel is going to be changed. There are multiple areas. So what you have rightly brought out, that there are so many scope for startups to come up in this industry. And the security paradigm is not only physical security paradigm, it's a technology security paradigm. We have a complete AI mission by the mighty running in the government of India. We have incorporated in the climate change adaptation, we have incorporated in disaster management. So the complete paradigm shift in the security has taken place, and it is mandatory for any security agency to comply to those norms, to create those ideas, and to, I tell you, people who came with 2,000 rupees with us, and they are today running a company worth 12,000 crores. So that is the potential it has. Today the budget of the complete climate adaptation and DRR is 3,44,000 crores.
Wonderful.
So that sort of budget is there. Need is to have a startup, to have a change of mindset and get into this field. We are here to incubate you, we are here to support you. That is the way it is going, and especially in the field of individual safety, individual awareness, that is lacking. Even today you see such a wonderful seminar going on. Most of the people I am ringing, "Kyun nahi aaya ho?" "Yeah, wo kaam hai, wo kaam hai." I tell you, such illuminaries will not come again and tell you. So this is the time people should come to such knowledge platform where you learn and where you grow.
Absolutely. I think what you said is, if you heard about those schemes also, you get on the platform and start searching about it. Like the different states, they have come up, Maharashtra, Kerala, Karnataka, they come up their own innovation system, right? The Kusum scheme of the Kerala, right? Likewise, many states have come up with their own innovation hubs. So now it is not just the central specific, it is going to the state level also. And so far you have mentioned about the climate. There are various such schemes going on.
I tell you, North-East states, thereafter the Kusum scheme, good budget is there. I'll just give you an example. Meghalaya, 33 crores. Nagaland, 22 crores. Assam, 156 crores. There's no taker. Come on, this is the time.
I think similarly a lot of budgets are being allocated now to a lot of R&D and innovation. A lot
Yes,
of
it is.
R&D budgets and R&D schemes available in
National
government.
Research Foundation, you give your proposal. It will be acceptable.
So you have both the parties here. One is the taker and... So that's what in today's time with the present government, a lot of such initiatives have taken place. It's just that both have to marry. The time has come, the startups come forward, and the people should also be aware of such scheme. Maybe a one-stop center, something like that, where everything is available and they just go and click, like all government scheme is available on one platform, something like that.
And I think anyways what has just been pointed out, I think time is something which everybody has to take out to get used to or get more knowledge and more awareness about what's happening around, and then look out for the opportunities that are there to grab. So for that, time is very important to take it out from our busy schedule. Not just to come here, but also look at what is your future and where you want to invest your time. I think, ma'am, with that, I know you have it's a very short time.
No, I think and the time is also is flat, right? So
yes.
And it's the lunch time also. Thank you so much for inviting IIPA at this forum, and we look forward that how we can collaborate together, and whatever the opportunity synergize in terms of anything support which IIPA can extend. Thank you all, and Jai Hind.
Thank you both. Thank you both of you for the fireside chat. I would like to invite Major General Vikram Singh to felicitate them. To Dr. Surbhi Pandey. And I request the speakers for a group photograph. Post this session, I would like to invite the platinum sponsor of the event, Sparsh CCTV, for their product presentation.
Yes. I think good afternoon once again. I would just request for your last probably 10 minutes of attention, and I would not take more than that, though the official time given was 15 minutes, but I'll try to wind it up in 7-8 minutes because I know it's already too late for the lunch. So I think we just discussed, I wanted to continue on that part, that there are a lot of uncertainties in business coming in, and one such uncertainty in business in terms of video surveillance domain has come up in terms of, and there has been a policy which we just spoke about on the uncertainties, which is doing a risk trigger in the video surveillance industry, which I would want everybody to focus on. There is a electronics and information technology which is called the CRO, compulsory registration order, which has been floated, compulsory for a lot of electronic goods to be registered in India to be sold. CCTV cameras and NVRs in the video surveillance industry is something which is covered under the CRO scheme, and we have lately seen a gadget of India coming from Ministry of Electronics and IT changing the ecosystem and landscape of a lot of CCTV products being bought out in the Indian market and being sold in the Indian market. That is what has about AI, a lot about, in the first session, I think we've listened a lot about countries globally going more self-reliant and self-centric in terms of the fulfillment of a lot of products and technologies. I think that is what we are seeing and witnessing such thing happening in the video surveillance industry at the moment. What's the risk for the lot of security professionals, a lot of consultants, a lot of industry people are sitting out there? What is the risk which this policy has posed in the current video surveillance being deployed across various industries? This has brought discontinuation of non-trusted CCTV cameras in the Indian market. So I don't want to elaborate on what you call as trusted and what you don't call as non-trusted. That's what Government of India has kept in the area, but I think everybody sitting out here know what a trusted means. We are not trusting anything coming from the border countries, specifically China, and that is what government has made it, that the key products going inside, or the key technology going, or even the key chipset going inside the products are from trusted source. That means
From 9th of April, when this policy has got mandated, 2025, which is hardly what, a month back, there would not be even a single CCTV camera being produced, sourced, imported in India with anything as a technology coming from China. So that, and if I talk about, just to give you a background of how video surveillance hardware industry has been operating, not just in India but globally, everybody knows China is superpower in a lot of hardware manufacturing across, specifically in COTS industries like CCTV. So a lot of supply chain disruption, a lot of technology redevelopment, hardware design redevelopment is happening across globe, and that is what disruption it is causing, not in just terms of a brand or a established product coming from the border countries, but also from what new and where it needs to be developed and put energy on. Scalability and integration challenge is another risk which is being posed, because a lot of, I'm sure everybody is some other security professional, either from the defense forces or from the corporate or industrial security area. You'd have a lot of deployments already. Brands like not just Chinese brands, but brands which are non-Chinese but still have Chinese technology inside. Those brands or those technologies are also stopped as this new policy comes in. So the challenge with the current scenario is that how to scale up the video surveillance in the upcoming or the existing projects or the setups that you have. The other challenge is poses the risk of existing CCTV in terms of the after-sales support. There has been a capex investment which has happened. I think what we just heard people saying that it would be nice to have the top CEO not just talking about revenues and profits but also about security. I think that's the time, with my personal discussion with a lot of security professionals, a lot of CSOs in last I would say a year plus, because that is where we started focusing on the corporate and the enterprise segment. Before that we were majorly into the government segment. We've secured all the critical infrastructure there. So a lot of ROI has to be justified in terms of what hardware procurement or software procurement has already been done, or what as you as security professionals are planning to do. So that is one risk area which gets posed on the ROI of what you have invested or what you are going to invest. Then I think this is something which I'll not elaborate on. Data security, data theft, camera, video feeds tampering, that is something which I think we've listened since morning is happening, and that is something with this new policy having not just the hardware perspective of covering the data security part, but also from the software perspective. It has a lot of identity security, it has a lot of access control security put in. It has been a lot of VAPT, vulnerability assessment testing, which has been already quite elaborately specified in the policy which has been floated, is all covered in the policy. Solution. Now let's talk about this. These are the risks and the problems which has disrupted. What is the solution? So Sparsh today is one of the first companies to be globally certified with the largest range of certified STQC trusted source products. Not just the hardware that we design and develop in India, but also the software that goes behind it. That's the video management platform where you do a lot of monitoring. That is the we spoke about, one of the gentlemen who spoke about that as a cyber attack risk, we at times don't know that where that particular data is being routed for. So as far as video surveillance is concerned, since I come from that industry, a lot of your video data gets moved out with the cloud servers that are there, because the moment you start seeing them online apart from the local premise. So that is where we have the hosting of all that cloud platforms in STQC certified Indian data centers. So all the data which is being routed for your central monitoring or your on mobile monitoring is being routed through secured servers. Then we also offer AI and the command control platforms to give a seamless integration end to end, not just a setup for passive monitoring, but a lot of active monitoring, a lot of active alerts which could be floated. And then we spoke about facial recognition, how it could be useful for a lot of access control mechanisms. So we are proudly the one hardware company from India which is not just making FRS softwares in India, but we are NIST, which is New York Institute of Science and Technology, which benchmarks global algorithms for the FRS. We are benchmarked as one top 30 FRS algorithms from India. One of the challenges which I'm sure is probably being faced by a lot of you or will be faced soon by a lot of you is how that integration happens of the old existing legacy system, which might be non-trusted going forward from 9th of April, and then moving forward buying a trusted system, but again do not have to monitor them separately, because you can't have 10 monitoring stations monitoring separate things, right? You will have a central control room. So we at Spurs, we've understood this pain the moment the policy came in. We worked on that. We have integrated all these legacy systems of a lot of Chinese brands like Hikvision, Dahua, Univiews, and a lot of other brands which exist in the market. Not from the camera perspective, you'll find a lot of platforms which are already giving the integration on the camera. But if you talk about the network video recorders as an economical solution to a lot of your sites, those embedded Linux-based NVRs are something which is not integrated on the platform with a lot of very few platform providers are there for that. So we at Spurs, we have NVR integration where all your existing system alerts, your system health alerts, everything come on a single platform apart from the video feeds. So you have a unified system, you don't have multiple systems to take care of in terms of monitoring, all in terms of taking alerts. The benefit is a scalable, future-ready system and a cost-effective solution from a single OEM end-to-end scalability. And all the systems that I'm speaking about, from not just the hardware where the policy has come in, but the softwares I spoke about, all are STQC certified with the latest cybersecurity guidelines put in by MITI. This is just a glimpse of the dashboard, how it looked like in terms of your existing systems or your new systems coming on, which will give you a very quick reaction time to what needs to be done. As a normal architecture, I'll skip this architecture, it's going too technical because that is what I thought of that we'll have. But this is how it will look like. If you're a multi-site environment, then you have multi-site, multi-brands already pushed in, but still everything can come on a single platform. In our platform, a lot of AIs can go into getting deployment, giving you a lot of actionable smart alerts. A lot of success stories have been created by us in just very short span of time. DP World, one of a global logistic firm, we've already done this integration with them. They already have a lot of the Chinese stuff, which being their global approved makes they have. We have done a lot of integration, we've done a lot of deployments, and we are going with a full-fledged RC with them. KEI Industries is one of the Indian cable manufacturers. Multiple locations, multiple factories we've already done integration with. Again, not just the cameras, but the NVRs, and future ready with all the STQ certified. Jiggly's one of the fastest growing pet brand stores which we see. We have already covered 20 plus stores and we are covering another 50 plus stores for them with this central platform. Existing NVRs and cameras also getting integrated on the same platform. Just a quick look, why to trust us, what we do, if you don't know much about what we've been doing. So we are today, we have made a mark in the global video surveillance market, not just India. We today are recognized as the fastest growing video surveillance company and the 16th among the globally video surveillance companies as of now in terms of revenues. We are already a government approved R&D center with DSI IR. We are the first company in India to make cameras, first company to get STQC approvals with the cyber securities, and having all the IPRs, copyrights, and the applications and everything is indigenously developed, and we are doing that more and more indigenizations as we move forward with India getting more and more independent on the electronics ecosystem front. We have already started working already on the camera chip side, on the silicon side, which India did not have the capability yet to work on the silicon side, but seeing that how India is moving towards, now we see a lot of silicon manufacturing coming to India. Tatas have already invested, Vedantas have already invested, so we will soon be seeing a lot of the Indian chips. I keep getting those questions that still what the chip is where from, either from Taiwan or from Korea, like we are currently using a US based chip. So ultimately the true independent on security will come in when we start using our own chips designed in India. A lot of the deployments, as I said, we primarily worked in this last 2 years in the government sector, so we are proud to be almost securing every vertical, every application that could be possibly there for a CCTV camera or a surveillance deployment. Proud to cover almost all army borders, all garrison borders, all the critical aviation drones which fly from army units. We cover a lot of borders with BSF. We've done a lot of airports now. A lot of the highest tunnel, which is the Chenab Bridge, and the JNK tunnel, which has been recently inaugurated. End-to-end security there, including the command control platform with access control integration, with fire and SCADA integration, is done by us, which got recent appreciation from the Railway Ministry and Railway Board as well. So we have across length and breadth deployed in various applications and industries, and we are done some of the pretty large projects in terms of proving ourselves in terms of to the market, in terms of scalability, in terms of deployment. We've done largest safe city, done some of the largest police stations in India, some of the largest ITMS in India. And with a lot of corporates now, that is where we look for building trust now, is coming out here that these are the corporates which we have already built trust with in last almost a year now. We are an approved make with almost all of them, some advanced stages of already deployments, already running rate contracts for a year with them, and some in the date. A lot of them are not mentioned here in terms of where we are already doing pilots or in the approved stage, but only those ones are mentioned where we are already approved as an approved make, or either we've started supplying our products and solutions there. So we look forward to working very closely with a lot of you in terms of understanding the challenges which you face, trying to give more of a consultative solution in terms of how those could be mitigated, is that what we started doing, and truly making an Atmanirbhar solution with cybersecurity and the next generation tech which could disrupt this hardware side or the video surveillance side of it. Thank you so much. I think anyways we are short of time on questions, so I'm available at the booth outside. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you for the product presentation by Sparsh CCTV. They are the platinum sponsors for the event. I would request Colonel Sanjay Srivastava to felicitate the team of Sparsh CCTV. After this, we break for lunch, which will be 30 minutes. So we come back by 14:45. And please keep track with the time so that I don't have to cut short with the next sessions upcoming. Thank you.